Hello everyone, welcome back to our Geography NCERT series. In the previous class, we explored maps, their types and components. Today we're diving into Chapter 5, Major Domains of the Earth, which lays the foundation for understanding the different domains of our planet and how their interaction makes life possible on Earth. Let's start with the major domains of the Earth. The Earth is a unique planet because it's the only one that's known to support life. This is possible due to the presence of life-sustaining elements like the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the land that gives us food and resources. The interaction of these elements enables life to thrive, from microscopic organisms and plants to towering trees and large mammals. Let us look at the four major domains of the Earth. First, we have the lithosphere. This is the solid land component. Second is the hydrosphere. This is the water component. Third is the atmosphere. This is the gaseous or air component. And fourth is the biosphere. This is a narrow zone where land, water, and air interact to support life. Let's look at each of these in detail, starting with the lithosphere. The word lithos in Greek means stone or rock. Hence, the lithosphere refers to the solid rocky outer layer of the earth. It consists of rocks of the Earth's crust and the uppermost solid part of the mantle, and the thin layer of soil, which is rich in nutrients and essential for supporting life. In higher classes, we will learn that the Earth is made up of three main layers, that is, the crust, the mantle, and the core. As we saw earlier, the lithosphere comprises of the crust, which includes the continental crust and the oceanic crust beneath the oceans, and the rigid upper portion of the mantle. This entire portion is known as the lithosphere. The lithosphere comprises of all the solid components like rocks, minerals, and soil, and landforms like mountains, plateaus, plains, and valleys. It is also a source of essential resources such as metals, minerals, and fertile land. The Earth's surface is broadly divided into two main parts, that is, the continents or large land masses, and the ocean basins or vast water bodies. As you can see in this map, water dominates the Earth's surface. Continents cover about 29% of the Earth's surface, with most of the land area concentrated in the northern hemisphere, while ocean basins cover the remaining 71%, which is more than twice the land area. As you can see, land masses are discontinuous and are separated by oceans, while oceans, on the other hand, are connected to one another. Before we explore the continents in detail, let's first understand a few concepts like sea level, isthmus, and strait. Elevation or the height of land is measured from a standard reference point called the mean sea level. Mean sea level is the average height of the ocean surface, which is used globally to measure elevation and depth. For example, Mount Everest is approximately 8,848 meters above sea level and is the highest mountain above sea level. You can see here that it is located west of Sikkim and is situated along the China-Nepal border. Another example is the Challenger Deep, located in the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean. The Challenger Deep is about 10,920 to 11,022 meters, or approximately 11,000 meters, or you can say 11 kilometers below sea level, and this is the deepest known point on Earth's seabed. This clearly shows that the depth of the ocean is greater than the height of the tallest mountain. You can use satellite view on Google Maps to locate the Mariana Trench and the Challenger Deep, which is located south of Japan and east of Philippines near the island of Guam. An interesting fact is that while Mount Everest is the highest point above sea level, The point farthest from the Earth's center is actually Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador in South America, which stands at 6,268 meters above sea level. Why? Because as you can see in this map, Chimborazo is near the equator, and as we learned earlier, the Earth has an equatorial bulge due to its rotation. So Chimborazo is actually the closest point on Earth to the Sun, even though it isn't the highest in terms of sea level. This is a zoomed in image of Mount Chimborazo. Further, if we talk about the tallest mountain from base to peak, it is Mauna Kea, located in Hawaii, which is 10,210 meters from base to peak, where its base starts below sea level. Coming back to Mount Everest, notable climbers of Mount Everest are Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, who were the first to reach the summit in 1953, Junko Tabe, who became the first woman to summit Mount Everest in 1975, and Bachendri Pal, who became the first Indian woman to climb Mount Everest in 1984. Now let's see the concept of isthmus. An isthmus is a narrow strip of land that connects two larger land masses and separates two bodies of water. You can think of it as a natural land bridge across water. Let's see a few famous examples. We have the Isthmus of Panama, which connects North America and South America. We have the Isthmus of Suez, which connects Africa and Asia. And here you can see the Isthmus of Kra, located in Southeast Asia. Now let's see the concept of strait. A strait is a narrow passage of water that connects two larger water bodies like seas or oceans. Famous examples of straits are the Strait of Gibraltar, located between Europe and Africa, connecting the Atlantic Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea. Then we have the Strait of Malacca, which lies between the Malay Peninsula and the Indonesian island of Sumatra. This connects the Indian Ocean to the Pacific Ocean and is a major route for international shipping. Here you can see the Strait of Hormuz, which is located between the Persian Gulf and the Arabian Sea. It is one of the most important choke points in global oil trade. And lastly, we have the Pak Strait, which lies between India and Sri Lanka, connecting the Gulf of Mannar with the Bay of Bengal. Before we look at continents, let's quickly recap what we've seen so far. We saw the meaning of lithosphere. Lithos in Greek means rock or stone. Hence, the lithosphere refers to the solid rocky outer layer of the earth. This is made up of rocks of the earth's crust and a thin layer of soil. In geographical terms, lithosphere refers to the crust and the uppermost solid part of the mantle. Then we saw that the earth's surface is divided into continents and ocean basins. Continents make up 29% of the earth's surface, while ocean basins make up the remaining 71%. Then we saw the concept of mean sea level. Mean sea level is the average height of the ocean surface, which is used to measure elevation and depth. We also saw Mount Everest, which is around 8,848 meters above sea level and is the tallest peak above sea level. We saw Challenger Deep, which is around 11,200 meters below sea level and is the deepest point on Earth's seabed. And we saw Mount Chimborazo, which is 6,268 meters above sea level and is the farthest point from the Earth's center. Then we saw notable climbers of Mount Everest. Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay were the first people to climb Mount Everest in 1953. We saw Junko Tabe, who was the first woman to climb its summit in 1975, and Bachendri Pal, who was the first Indian woman to climb its summit in 1984. Then we saw concepts of isthmus and strait. Isthmus is a narrow passage of land that connects two land masses, while strait is a narrow strip of water that connects two water bodies. We also saw examples of isthmus like the Isthmus of Panama, the Isthmus of Suez, and the Isthmus of Kra. And we saw examples of straits like the Strait of Gibraltar, the Strait of Hormuz, the Park Strait, and the Strait of Malacca. Now let's take a look at the continents. A continent is a large continuous landmass that is typically separated from other continents by oceans or other distinct geographical features. While continents are mainly identified based on their vastness, separation by oceans, and geological composition, cultural and historical factors have also influenced how we classify them. The Earth's landmass is broadly divided into 7 major continents. These are Asia, Europe, Africa, North America, South America, Australia, and Antarctica. Let's explore each of these continents, starting with Asia. Asia is the largest continent on Earth. It covers about 30% or almost one-third of Earth's total land area and is home to nearly 60% of the world's population. Asia lies in the Eastern Hemisphere and the Tropic of Cancer passes through it. Asia is surrounded by 3 major oceans, that is the Arctic Ocean in the north, the Pacific Ocean in the east, and the Indian Ocean to the south. It is separated from Europe by natural boundaries such as the Ural Mountains, the Caspian Sea, the Caucasus Mountains, and the Black Sea. Further, it is separated from Africa by the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Aden. Lastly, Asia is separated from North America by the Bering Strait. The key physical features of Asia are the Himalayan mountains, the world's highest mountain range including Mount Everest, the Plateau of Tibet, the world's highest and largest plateau, and the Gobi Desert, which is a cold desert in China and Mongolia. The combined mass of Europe and Asia is known as Eurasia. Some geographers consider Eurasia to be a single supercontinent as there is no clear natural boundary separating the two. In fact, the division between Europe and Asia is largely historical and cultural, dating back to ancient Greek geographers. Geographically, there is no universally agreed upon border, and the boundary is often seen as arbitrary or conventional rather than natural. Next, let's look at Europe. Europe is much smaller than Asia and is the second smallest continent in terms of land area. It covers about 6.8% of the Earth's land surface and is home to approximately 10% of the world's population. The country lies entirely in the northern hemisphere and is mostly in the eastern hemisphere, located to the west of Asia. Like we've seen earlier, Europe is separated from Asia primarily by mountain ranges and rivers. The key features forming this boundary includes the Ural Mountains, the Ural River, the Caspian Sea, the Caucasus Mountains, and the Black Sea. Europe is surrounded by water on 3 sides. There is the Arctic Ocean to the north, the Atlantic Ocean to the west, and the Mediterranean Sea to the south. As you can see in the map, the Arctic Circle also passes through the northern part of Europe. Important physical features of Europe are the Alps, a prominent mountain range in Central Europe, the Northern European Plain, which is a flat and fertile land stretching across countries, and the Danube River, which is the second longest river in Europe, flowing through 10 countries. Then we come to Africa. Africa is the second largest continent after Asia. It holds about 20% of the Earth's land area and 17% of its population, making it the second most populated continent after Asia. The equator runs almost through its center, and it is the only continent through which the Tropic of Cancer, the equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn all pass. It is surrounded by the Mediterranean Sea to the north, the Atlantic Ocean to the west, the Indian Ocean to the east, and the Red Sea to its northeast. Key physical features of Africa are the Sahara Desert, the world's largest hot desert, the Nile River, the longest river in the world, Mount Kilimanjaro, the tallest peak in Africa, and Lake Victoria, the largest tropical lake in the world. Next, we have North America. North America is the third largest continent in the world. It lies entirely in the northern hemisphere and entirely in the western hemisphere. It covers about 16.5% of the Earth's total land area and is home to approximately 7.5% of the world's population. It is surrounded by the Arctic Ocean to the north, the Atlantic Ocean to the east, and the Pacific Ocean to the west. North America is connected to South America by a narrow strip of land called the Isthmus of Panama, which serves as a natural bridge between the two continents. Further, as we saw earlier, the Bering Strait separates North America from Asia. The important physical features of North America are the Rocky Mountains, a major mountain range that stretches from Canada to the southwestern US. We also have the Appalachian Mountains. Then there is the Mississippi River, one of the longest river systems in North America. And there are the Great Plains, which are vast flatlands that are ideal for agriculture. Then we come to South America. South America is the fourth largest continent by area and the fifth largest by population. It covers around 12% of the Earth's land area and is home to approximately 5.5% of the world's population. It lies entirely in the Western Hemisphere and mostly in the Southern Hemisphere as the equator passes through its north. Further, South America is surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean on the east and the Pacific Ocean on the west. Key physical features of South America are the Andes Mountains, which is the longest continental mountain range in the world, which stretches along the western edge of the continent from north to south. The Amazon River, which is the largest river in the world by volume, and the Amazon rainforest, the largest tropical rainforest on Earth. Then we have Australia. Australia is the smallest continent and the only country that is also a continent. It lies entirely in the southern hemisphere. It is surrounded on all sides by oceans and seas, which is why it is often referred to as an island continent. It covers around 5% of the world's land area, yet is home to only 0.33% of the world's population. Key features of Australia are the Great Dividing Range, a major mountain range on the eastern coast, the Western Plateau or Outback, which is an arid, sparsely populated region, and the Great Barrier Reef located off the northeast coast of Australia, which is the world's largest coral reef system. Lastly, we have the continent of Antarctica. Antarctica is the southernmost continent on Earth, and the South Pole lies almost at the center of it. Though it is the fifth largest continent, Antarctica is around 40% larger than Europe. It is also the coldest, driest, and windiest continent, making it a vast icy desert. It is permanently covered in thick ice sheets and contains about 90% of the world's ice and around 60 to 70% of the world's fresh water. There are no permanent settlements due to its harsh climate, but despite these extreme conditions, many countries maintain scientific research stations here. India has 3 such stations here, with 2 of them being currently active. The first one is Dakshin Gangotri, which became operational in 1984 but is currently decommissioned. The second one is Maitri, which has been operational since 1989. And the third one is Bharati, which has been operational since 2012. You can see the location of these research stations in this map. Here you can see Dakshin Gangotri, you can see Maitri, and you can see the Bharati research station. The important features of the continent of Antarctica are the Transantarctic Mountains. In this image you can see the Transantarctic Mountains, and how they divide Antarctica into East and West Antarctica. Then there is the Antarctic Peninsula, the Ron Ice Shelf, the Ross Ice Shelf, and the Amery Ice Shelf. Let's quickly sum up the continents. A continent is a landmass that is large and continuous and is separated from other landmasses by oceans or distinct geographical features. There are 7 major continents. In order of their size, they are Asia, which is the largest continent, Africa, North America and South America, Antarctica, Europe, which is the second smallest continent, and Australia, the smallest continent. Let's revise each of these starting with Asia. Asia is the largest continent and covers around 30% of the Earth's land area and is home to around 60% of the world's population. In comparison, India covers around 2.4% of the Earth's land area and is home to around 17.5% of the world's population. We also saw that Asia is surrounded by 3 oceans, that is the Arctic Ocean to the north, the Indian Ocean to the south, and the Pacific Ocean to the east. Asia is separated from Europe by the Ural Mountains, the Caspian Sea, the Caucasus Mountains, and the Black Sea. It is separated from Africa by the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Aden, and it is separated from North America by the Bering Strait. Then we saw 3 important features of Asia, that is the Himalayas, the Tibet Plateau, and the Gobi Desert. Next we saw Europe. Europe is the second smallest continent and it covers 6.8% of the world's land area and is home to 10% of the world's population. Europe is surrounded by the Arctic Ocean to the north, the Atlantic Ocean to the west, and the Mediterranean Sea to the south. Like we saw in the previous slide, it is separated from Asia by the Ural Mountains, the Caspian Sea, the Caucasus Mountains, and the Black Sea. Further, we saw 3 important features of Europe, that is the Alps, the Danube River, and the North European Plain. Next we saw Africa, which is the second largest continent. It covers 20% of the world's land area and is home to 17% of the world's population, making it the second most populated continent after Asia. It is surrounded by the Mediterranean Sea to the north, the Atlantic Ocean to the west, the Indian Ocean to the east, and the Red Sea to its northeast. It is separated from Europe by the Mediterranean Sea and separated from Asia by the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, and the Gulf of Aden. Further, important features of Africa that we saw are the Sahara Desert, the Nile River, Lake Victoria, and Mount Kilimanjaro. Then we saw North America. North America is the third largest continent and covers around 16.5% of the world's land area and is home to around 7.5% of the world's population. It is surrounded by the Arctic Ocean to the north, the Pacific Ocean to the west, and the Atlantic Ocean to the east. It is separated from South America by the Isthmus of Panama. Further, important features that we saw are the Rocky Mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, the Mississippi River, and the Great Plains. Then we saw South America. South America is the 4th largest continent, covering around 12% of the world's land area and is home to around 5.5% of the world's population. It is surrounded by the Pacific Ocean to the west and the Atlantic Ocean to the east. Important features that we saw were the Andes Mountains, the Amazon River, and the Amazon Forest. Then we saw Australia. Australia is the smallest continent and is the only country that is also a continent. It covers around 5% of the world's land area and is home to only 0.33% of the world's population. It is surrounded by the Indian Ocean to the west, the Pacific Ocean to the east, and the Southern Ocean or the Antarctic Ocean to the south. Important features of this continent are the Great Dividing Range, the Western Plateau or Outback, and the Great Barrier Reef. Lastly, we saw the continent of Antarctica. Antarctica is the 5th largest continent and is around 40% larger than Europe. Antarctica contains about 90% of the world's ice and around 60 to 70% of the world's fresh water. Further, Antarctica is completely surrounded by the Southern Ocean. Important features are the Antarctic Peninsula, the Ron Ice Shelf, the Ross Ice Shelf, the Amery Ice Shelf, and the Transantarctic Mountains. We also saw India's research centers, that is Dakshin Gangotri, started in 1984 and is currently decommissioned. We saw Maitri, started in 1989, and Bharati Research Station, started in 2012. That brings us to the end of part 1 of chapter 5. In the next video, we'll explore part 2 of chapter 5, where we'll see the hydrosphere, the atmosphere, and the biosphere. If you found this helpful, do like and share this video and subscribe to Clinch It for more such content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.